Yeah. Okay folks, so today we will start learning a very important idea. The idea of a linear regression model. Now in the last class we talked about the population regression function. I said that the conditional mu of y given one particular value of xi can be written as, yeah? Everyone remembers this? So for example, we did that case where you were tossing 3 coins and the average number of heads on all 3 tosses was y, the number of heads on the first 2 tosses was x, and we said that the average number of heads conditional on the number of heads on the first 2 tosses can be written as a function of the number of heads on the first 2 tosses and x. Then we said 0.5, 1.5, 2.5 like that, right? So we said that is what is called, so that relationship which can be described as alpha plus beta xi is called the population regression function. Why is it called the population regression function? Any idea? Why is it called the population regression function? Because in a sense we knew what the population was. If we toss 3 coins, you know what the set of all possible outcomes is? You know the probabilities with which each of the outcomes comes about, because they are all equally likely. So in a sense you have a complete description of the process which generated the random variable y. Such a process is called the data generating process, and we knew the data generating process fully, right? In short, this process will be called the DGP, the data generating process, and we said what the data generating process is. Okay, right? Sure. Now this relates the average value of y to x. Okay, so this says, for example, if x equal to 0, alpha was 0.5. If x equal to 1, then this number was 1.5. If x equal to 2, this number was 2.5. So for example, think of x equal to 2. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does x equal to 2 mean? What is the experiment that we were having?
The number of heads in the first 2 coins is head.
The number of heads on the first 2 tosses is x. Y is the number of heads on all 3 tosses. So if x equal to 2, we said that the condition mean of y given x equal to 2 was 2.5. Why did we say that? Because given x equal to 2, we are looking at the outcomes h. Yeah? The only 2 possible outcomes. In this case, y takes the value 3. In this case, y takes the value 2. Both the outcomes are equally likely. So the expected value of y conditional upon x equal to 2 is 3 into 0.5 plus 2 into 0.5, 2.5. Okay, right? And this function relates that average value to each individual value of x. For example, if x were 1, then you will get another set of outcomes, right? And y would be 1.5. Conditional mean of y given x equal to 1 would be 1.5. Now please understand an important difference. What is 2.5? 2.5 is the average value of y conditional upon x taking the value 2. Whereas, what is the value of y here? 3. What is the value of y here? 2. So think of each individual value of y for the value of x as something. So for example, if I were to write this, I would be able to write this as, okay, Fine. I would write this value as, suppose y is equal to 3. So I would write 3 as plus 0.5. Yeah? Why can I write this? 3 is equal to condition mean of y given x equal to 2 plus 0.5. What allows me to write that? What allows me to write that? Because what is this value? 2.5. So what is 2.5 plus 0.5? 3. Right? Sure? So if I were to write 2 here, what will I have to write this as? Minus 0.5. Now what is 3? What is 3 and 2? 3 is one possible outcome. Given x equal to 2. 2 is another possible outcome. Right? So the two possible outcomes that y takes given x equal to 2 can be written as the average value of y given x equal to 2 plus or minus 0.5. Right? Okay? This, you know, this much algebra, 2.5 minus 0.5 is 2. Right? Now, what is this value? Expected value of y given x equal to 2 is what? What would expected y given x equal to 2 be? Say loudly. I don't think we have been studying at all at home. What is expected y given x equal to 2? But what is 2.5? What average value for y given x equal to 2? Isn't it? Why is it like that? Because what are the values that y can take given x equal to 2? 3 and 2. Can you see why y can take the values 3 and 2? What is y? What is y? What is y? Number of heads on all the 3 tosses. What is x? Number of heads on the first 2 tosses. Right? So given that there are 2 heads on the first 2 tosses, what are all the possible values that y can take? 3 and 2. Both these values are equally likely. So what would be the expected value of y given x equal to 2? 3 into 0.5 plus 2 into 0.5. What is that number? 3 into 0.5 plus 2 into 0.5 is how much? Do it on a piece of paper. 3 into 0.5 plus 2 into 0.5 is how much? Into 0.5 is just 1.5. 2 into 0.5 is just 2 into 0.5 is 1. So 1.5 plus 1 is how much? 1.5 plus 1 is how much? 1.5 plus 1 is how much? 2.5. That's why it's 2.5. That's why the condition mean of y given x equal to 2 is 2.5. Is clear? Sure. Now each individual value of y is 3 or 2. So if I now want to relate each individual value of y, it can be the condition mean of y given x equal to 2 plus 0.5 or minus 0.5. Yeah? Okay? So, but now what is this 0.5? Can somebody tell me what is this 0.5? Plus 0.5 minus 0.5. What is 0.5? So the idea is once you toss the 3 coins, you can't predict beforehand whether y will be 3 or 2. All that you know is y will be either 3 or 2. So all that you can know is the conditional mean of y given x equal to 2 is 2.5, but the actual value of y can be either 3 or 2. So all that you can say is the actual value of y will differ from the conditional mean of y given x equal to by either plus 0.5 or minus 0.5, but you can't predict them beforehand. Right? So that gap will take the value plus 0.5 with probability 0.5 or minus 0.5 with probability 0.5. In other words, this gap is itself a random variable. Okay? This gap itself is a random variable. So, if I now we come to the important one. Okay? So, each individual value of yi minus the condition mean of y given x equal to xi is a random variable ei, which in this case can take the value plus 0.5 minus 0.5. Okay? Plus 0.5 minus 0.5. Similarly, think of x is equal to 1. Then what are the possible outcomes that we are looking at? HTT, THT. Yeah, what others? I want one head on the first two tosses. T. But I've already written THT, no? PH and HTT. Yeah. Now in each of these cases x is 1. What is y in this case?
1.
What is y in this case? What is y here? What is y here? 2. So what are the values? What is the condition mean of y given x equal to 1? What are the possible values that y takes? 1 and 1. Both with equal probability? Y with equal probability because 2 times you get y is equal to 1, 2 times you get y is equal to 2, although equally likely outcomes. Right? So the condition mean of y given x is equal to y given x equal to 1 is 1.5. But what are the various values that y can take? 1 or 2. So the individual values of y will differ from the conditional mean by plus 0.5 or minus 0.5, which cannot be predicted beforehand. So in general, in this case, I can write yi where ei is a random variable. In this case, it takes the values 0.5 minus 0.5, its expected value is 0, its variance will be 1 because it's a binary variable. No? It's just a tossing the coin kind of a thing, right? Minus 0.5 plus 0.5, and its variance will be, can you tell me what will be the mean of ei and the variance of ei in this case? So ei takes the values yeah. What is the mean of ei? The expected value of ei क्या होगा? How will you find the expected value of ei? How do you get the expected value? Right? Can you tell me what will be the variance of ei? How do you find the variance of ei? So variance of ei, how do you find the variance of ei? What is the variance of x that we found out? What is the formula? We did some formula, no? So it will be expectation of ei square minus expectation ei whole square and to the variance. Right? So can you now tell me what will be the variance of ei? How can the variance of ei be 0? Find out ei square. Right? So what is ei square? Yeah? 0.5 into 0.5, right? So therefore, expectation of EI square is 0.5 into 0.025 plus 0.5 into 0.025 minus 0 square. Yeah? Which is equal to what? Which is what? 0.5, right? Yeah?
So the second one is minus 0.5 into 0.5, right? By calculating EI square.
EI square, no? The square, if you square a negative term, it becomes positive, doesn't it? Yeah? So that is 0.5. So now EI is a random variable in this case, which means 0 and variance 0.5. Now, what we are going to say is therefore in general, now see, now the most important step, okay? Now the most important step. So what is EI? Can you quickly summarize what is EI? We heard the error term, but why? What does it mean? What does it mean? I don't want a name for it. I want its meaning.
Value can vary between.
What it says is the difference between the actual outcome of a random variable and its conditional mean, which is a pure element of chance, which is governed purely by chance. Right? For example, if you play a game, when I suppose every time it turns up heads, you give me 1 rupee, tails, I give you 1 rupee, your average earnings will be 0. But once you toss a coin, you don't know whether your earnings will be plus or minus 1 till the coin is landed. So the difference between the conditional mean and the actual value of that random variable, which is the outcome of a pure chance experiment, is what we call EI. Okay? Sure? They call it the stochastic term, the disturbance term, the error term, and so on and so forth. But right? But this is what it means. So in theory, it is the gap between the average value of a random variable and the actual value of the random variable. And the gap is a result of pure statistical chance. So in that sense, EI does not include all the variables they have omitted and so on and so forth. Right? It is just that you can't really predict that outcome. Right? For example, I might know that the average weight of a chalk in this box is say 5 grams. But if I put my hand in randomly, I'll get some chalk which can be 7 grams or 3 grams or whatever. Right? And that's an outcome of a pure statistical experiment. Right? Unless of course all the chalks were exactly the same, in which case I will not have to estimate. Right? All that I need to know is there are 100 chalks in this. The overall weight of this is kilo. So 1 kilo upon 100 is what each and individual chalk weighs. But since that's not the case, each chalk weighs a little bit different. I need to do a statistical estimation. Right? So what did I do? So given this, I have now yi. Is this idea clear? Because this can be written simply as alpha plus beta xi. Then we have yi is alpha plus beta xi plus ei, right? This is really the population regression function. One variant in which you can write the population regression function, where it says how you can connect not the conditional mean of y given x equal to xi. Now there is a difference between the two. What is the difference between the two? The conditional mean of y given x equal to xi is a fixed number. If x equal to 2, a conditional mean is 2.5. If x equal to 1, the conditional mean is 1.5. So you know those numbers perfectly. But if I ask you what is the actual number of y given x equal to 2, then you can only say it's either 3 or 2. So all that you can say is the conditional mean plus or minus some unknown random variable, which can only be described probabilistically. I can say that this random variable has mean 0 and variance 0.5, but I can't tell you what exact value of y I will receive. Right, so this therefore is a stochastic relationship, whereas conditional mean of y given x equal to xi is equal to alpha plus beta xi is a deterministic relationship. If you know xi, you can know the conditional mean of y given x equal to xi perfect. x equal to 2, the condition mean has to be 2.5 unless you make some calculation mistake. X equal to 1, the condition mean has to be 1.5 unless you make a calculation mistake. But here, if I tell you x equal to 2, you can't tell me y will be exactly 3 or exactly 2. You will say it's 2.5 plus or minus some 0.5 which I can't tell you before. So this relationship becomes a stochastic relationship. Now in this simple example, we know that alpha is equal to 0.5, beta is equal to 1. Why do we know that? Because we know the entire data generating process. Yeah? But in the real world, do I know the entire data generating process? I did this because I did a very simple experiment. No? I was tossing 2 coins and I can describe the experiment entirely. But suppose I was wanting to know the relationship between, say, people's expenditure, which is y, and their incomes, which is x, then I do not have data on everybody living in Mumbai. If I had data on everybody living in Mumbai, I would be able to know the data generating process. But I don't know the data generating process, right? So what I need to do is to actually estimate alpha and beta. Yeah? So the alpha and beta that we, in this case 0.5 and 1 are called population parameters. They are fixed numbers. But we cannot generally know them. So we have to estimate them from a sample. Okay? Fine. So what we need is, we need to find a way of obtaining sample estimates of alpha and beta. Okay? I'll tell you one simple way of obtaining the sample estimates of alpha and beta. Right? So suppose I have this. Okay? I have this. So let me find out the covariance between y and x. Okay? So, covariance between yi and xi, yeah, is covariance of alpha xi, right, plus beta covariance of xi plus covariance of between xi and ei. Is this clear? So covariance x with y is the covariance with each individual term. Yeah? Right? And you can check that out in a formula, you know. So it's easy to show, for example, that covariance of z and x plus y is covariance of xz plus covariance of zy and so on. Right? Okay, and that I leave for homework for you to prove actually. Now, so let's simplify this. What would be the covariance of alpha and xi? Any guess? What is the covariance of alpha and xi? What is alpha? A constant. What is covariance measuring? The co-movement. So if something is constant, does it move with anything else? No. So this part will be 0. Right? What is covariance of xi with itself? What is covariance of x with itself? Variance. The covariance of x with itself is variance, no? What is the formula? Right? Covariance of x with itself is the variance. So, variance plus, now I am going to argue to you that this part will be 0. Covariance of xi and ei will be 0 if the model is specified correctly. Why do you think we can argue that? Again, think what is covariance of xi and ei denoting? What is the covariance of xi and ei denoting? What is xi? Think of the coin tossing experiment. What is xi? The number of heads on the first 2 turns. Y is the number of heads on all 3 turns. Say let x be 2. So what is the condition mean of y given x equal to 2? 2.5. What is y? Y can be either 3 or 2. So y can be 0.5 plus 0.5 minus 0.5. What does it denote? It says how many heads will there be on all the three tosses given that x is equal to 2. Now even if I know that x is equal to 2, once the coins are tossed, can I say that x will be actually, y will be actually 3 or y will be actually 2? I can't say that. So knowing the value of x, does it help me to predict the value of y? If I have to do that, I need to know what will be EI, no? So knowing x, does it help me to predict EI, or EI doesn't depend upon what x is? It doesn't, no? Because if x is 1, EI can still be plus point, y can either be 2 or, so it's 1.5. So if x equal to 1, y can either be 1 or 2. So knowing x per se only tells you what is the condition mean of y given x equal to xi, doesn't help you predict EI. Because EI is an outcome of a pure chance experiment. Right? Is this clear? Sure? So therefore, xi and EI will be not correlated.